Next up is OhmConnect.
Meet Adam. Adam wants to reduce his carbon footprint, but he doesn't know how to. Luckily, Adam's discovered OhmConnect. OhmConnect is a platform that coaches Adam when to reduce his electricity and then pays him for it. Adam only needs two things to log in, his utility username and his utility password. So anyone who pays for their electricity can log into OhmConnect today. OhmConnect hooks into Adam's smart meter data to show him where his energy is coming from, whether it's hot water, refrigeration, vampire loads, gas heating, or computers and tablets. He sees how that changes over time, and he notices in early December he was using more gas heating than normal. That's because it was abnormally cold in SF. He can also track his carbon footprint and his cost over time as well. He wants to learn more, so he clicks on the plug load devices and sees how he's consumed over a given day. He notices he uses more in the morning than in the afternoon, and he notices a blinking red light at 8 p.m. That's when the electricity grid is strained and a dirty diesel power plant needs to turn on for supply to meet demand. You can see that the carbon footprint of that plant is much higher than any other hours, but the cost dwarfs all other hours. Adam thinks, how does this affect me, and where is this plant? So he clicks on the energy map, and he sees where his energy is coming from. His home is the blue icon in San Francisco, and he sees a bunch of different lines which represent electricity flowing from various power plants into his home. He sees red coal and gas power plants, and green wind, biomass, solar power plants flowing into his home. But he notices that dirty diesel power plant we alluded to earlier, it's a 2-megawatt plant in Napa, and it's not currently running. But he doesn't want it to turn on, so he clicks Pledge to Reduce. When he does this, OhmConnect will send him a notification to turn down, and if he does, OhmConnect will pay him for it. Now, you may be wondering, how does OhmConnect pay Adam to reduce his electricity? Now, this gets a little technical, but bear with us. Adam, like all of us, gets his energy from the utilities. But where do the utilities get their energy? They get it from the energy markets. And these energy markets, prices are extremely volatile. Prices are usually $40 to $50 per megawatt hour, but 1 or 2 hours a week, these prices spike to $500 to $1,000 per megawatt hour. This is when OhmConnect sells Adam's reductions into the grid. The energy markets see Adam's reductions as a virtual power plant. So instead of paying to turn on this diesel power plant, they pay Adam to turn down. These energy markets are brand new, and only OhmConnect has taken that publicly available information and presented it in a way that Adam can understand and act on it. So this is all very complex, but for Adam, it's dead simple. He gets a notification, he turns down a few lights, and he gets paid for it. Now, Adam's a super user, so he's gone ahead and hooked in OhmConnect to his Wi-Fi thermostats and his home automation devices. So OhmConnect automatically turns down his AC and his hot water heating as well. So right as these dirty power plants are about to turn on, Adam's already reducing his electricity, and he sees the points in the top right-hand corner start to accrue. So he clicks on that and sees how much he's accrued over all time, how he's performed over the past 3 or 4 months, and what his electricity generation stack looks like. He can cash out these points at any time. Now, Adam's only been on the platform for 4 months. He's already saved 300 pounds of CO2 during these peak times and earned about $8 since the last time he cashed out. So instead of spending money on dirty power in Napa, Adam can now spend it on wine in Napa. So join us and Adam in reducing your carbon footprint, getting paid for it, and taking control of where your energy is coming from. Thank you.
I love this, absolutely. We have big 21st century tragedy of the commons problems that we all face, and energy is going to be one of them. But it's so hard to connect what we do in our daily activities into that bigger picture and how the small shavings add up to a big pile of change. And the more that we can generate awareness around that and make it actionable, the better. Kudos.
Exactly. Thank you.
So I agree with that, but the issue is eventually it'll have to become invisible, that these things come into place, that they're self-aware by themselves. I think a lot of those graphs are super interesting to certain amounts of people, but most people can hardly recycle properly. You know what I mean? I mean, so how do you get it to just be automatic, that set some parameters and then it just happens? Or they give you an alert on your phone and say, you know, unplug stuff, don't use it at this hour. I think the easier we make it for people, and this seems like I am interested in this, but I would never look at your, you know, your charts, nor would I care to look at them. And I want to know, just like with wearables right now, they're not actionable. They should say that donut you ate this morning actually made your made your sugar go up, and therefore you should have gotten up right now and done this or eaten an apple. There's not actionable. And so I think a lot of these things are super interesting, but unloading data onto the public, I think, is as much as it raises awareness, is useless on some level.
Right, that's a great point. And we only want them to look at it for the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then we hook up their Nest thermostats, their Honeywell thermostats. We automatically turn them down and start paying them money automatically. So it's all out of sight and out of mind still.
But more than that, like, you should unplug, turn off the washing machine, don't do the washing machine right now. Like,
Right.
it should tell you, like, it's not going to work until it actually tells people things via these, what to do, right, when you're supposed to do it.
We also do send push notifications specifically for that. So you'll receive an email or receive a text message or a push notification telling you to turn your lights off, or this is an inopportune time to be using energy.
Where do these energy markets, the biddable energy markets, exist? Are they nationwide, or are they on a state by state?
There's only 6 right now. California ISO is one of them, and it represents all of California. Most of the eastern seaboard and the Midwest are on different markets. New York has one, and Texas also has one.
And how much are you thinking of extending your control of devices? Because it's not just the Nest thermostat, it's the Belkin Wemo, for example. And you could do something maybe through IFTTT to be able to sort of send messages to that, so I could turn the lights down or the space heater off or whatever.
Exactly. So right now we've only hooked up the Tesla electric car, the Belkin Wemo device, and we're looking into Honeywell and Nest thermostats.
Are you guys looking to partner more with PG&E?
So that is an eventual goal of ours. PG&E already has some of these programs in place, but they've had a very poor time engaging consumers, as I'm sure very few of you guys have actually heard of these programs. So we're going first to the consumer and getting them on board before we go to PG&E.
How?
Oh, so we're going to consumers saying, it's a good question. So we're going to consumers that are curious about the environment and want to save that. They also, we're looking at quantified self, so people that care about seeing more information about how they're using energy and other stuff. And we're also looking at small families, or young families, which care about the environment because they have children and they see the future in them.
This is a data junkie's dream,
Right.
all that data. As I saw it, I was like, wow, so much fantastic stuff. Did you say that you needed to actually have a smart meter deployed in the house in order to kind of collect that? So it's an additional device. Is that provided by you guys, or?
The smart meters are actually already installed in all of California residents,
right.
PG&E, SC, and SDG&E. We're just using it for
The data, you're pulling a feed off of that.
exactly.
But again, aiming, data junkies are fine, but most people are not
I know,
data
but
junkies.
I am, so I would love
This
it.
room, perhaps, but it's not really the demographic of real people in that regard. But going to schools or something where they do, where they could learn something from it, so that it becomes something usual, seems to me. Or because if you're aiming just at data junkies, I think people do it for a minute. And
Right.
just like
We're currently in the Foothill Community College and having them compete in teams to see how they can reduce more than each other.
Yeah, the team aspect is something that the schools in particular have been very interested in, forming kind of within a classroom, and then being able to educate the students on how they can take control of their energy.
Quick poll of the audience. How many people would want to try something like this? How many people would want to try it? Okay, that's almost everybody. So yeah, I mean, this is your earliest of the early adopters, but that's what it's about, right? You want to get them to try, and then maybe trickle down, and then I think Kara's ideas are wise. Just tell them what to do. I think even just saying, use less electricity now, save money, you know. When the coal plant or the gas plant goes on and it's 70 times, or I don't know, was it 100 times more expensive?
Yes.
Why don't we pay 100 times more for our energy?
The utility is trying to go down that direction. They've started with time of use, but right now they simply can't handle that amount of data and pass that information onto the consumers in the real-time format that we can.
Are they going to eventually do that? Because then it would become really in our best interest to do it. If there was surge pricing for electricity, as it were, and you knew it's costing 7x, you're going to turn the dishwasher off immediately.
Absolutely. I see them doing it in 5 to 10 years. We're trying to do it in the next 2.
And all the data on that map you get from open data, where is that from?
Yeah, so these are in the energy markets, and they're publicly available, and we are able to take that and present it in a way that any of us can understand.
Awesome. Let's hear it for OhmConnect. Well done.
Thank you.